Hello, everyone. I just want to thank Jay for inviting me to do this. I was a big fan of Jorgen's films, and I'd read somewhere he was a poet, and I almost was skeptical. But it's true. My clothing. 1. I attach importance to turning out well-dressed at open tournaments and team matches. For team matches, of course, the colors are already determined, but this ought not to deter one from adding an extra touch in the form of, for example, long, clean white socks and elegant thin-soled gym shoes. I always bring a nice Turkish towel with me to match the color of my kit. I enter the court with the towel around my neck and remove it together with my tracksuit only when I am thoroughly warmed up and the match can begin. I then place it on the braces under the table so that it may be at hand when I need to wipe sweat from my hands or from the bat handle. 2. At the open tournaments, club kit is optional, and one may therefore add a personal touch to one's clothing. I have several jerseys into which I may change. One in blue, a second in blue, one in maroon. Moreover, 2 pairs of white shorts and 1 thicker gray pair of the kind worn by the national team. My tracksuit, which I make sure to put on immediately after a match, is blue and may be zipped up to the neck. I bought it in Sweden, and it resembles none of the more popular models worn in this country. At open tournaments, too, I feel rather unequipped without a nice towel to take me into the court. 3. For training, I wear a red football jersey from a company tournament in which I once took part in a pair of blue shorts. I have my training kit washed once a week. It ought properly to be washed after every session. 4. I must regularly purchase new socks. They get ruined by sweat. And this is my clothing. 1. I attach importance to turning out well-dressed at open tournaments and team matches. For team matches, of course, the color are already determined, but this ought not to deter one from adding an extra tuck to the form, e.g. long, clean socks and elega, thin-soled gym shoes. I always bring a nice Turkish towel with me to match the color of my kit. I enter the couvet with the towget around my neck and rempti togeth with my tank the suit on a throng of it warmed up, and the match can begin. I then place it ox to brakis, unve tib tavli, so that it may be at hand when I need to wipe sweat from my hands or from the baths or hevtis. 2. Aches Open Tournaments club kit is optional, and one may therefore add a personal touch to one's clothing. I have Severe Jinx in the Vix al Mev Zinkt ex Iv Bex, ex Civix Ivs Bex ex Iv Mevex. Moreover, Tve Peg Vix Vev Sharks Na Ax Pav Thinkvex, Grex of the Kevk Vink Biv Tivx Nakting ex Hek Makes Tvengenix. Vex, Alix, Mex, Sohex, TV, Pivotex, Imex, Riflex, I Miftix, X, Bahekix, Ein Mex, Zehipex, Iptix, Nex. I bought it in Sweden, and it resembles none to Vegmek, Pivex, X, Modex, and Pivex, Semintex, Adavex, Yevek, Jadiakvik, Yenye. Velavika Hepelvex, Aeneas Mevex, Aniviakex, Tioae. Onto the court. 3. Fivrex Tatalabrex Io. Alia ne ra fabules ya fervex, coveax, tevea rex, yax, aenex, dalie blex, shex, alex teviax, wek sikasix. Ivexin ox biavex, sviavex, sesvex. 4. I must regularly purchase new socks so they get ruined by sweats. My Kumla poem. There sat a girl behind Venetian blinds in Kumla. I saw her one time. I drank a beer in Kumla. Out of the radio streamed the choir of All Hearts in Kumla. I'm a princess. I dance in the night in Kumla, all dressed in silver. I drank beer once in Kumla. I saw a girl seated behind Venetian blinds in Kumla. Some people prefer to eat sausage in Kumla. Shoe manufacturing is the biggest industry in Kumla. I light a cigarette in Kumla. I smoke it slowly as I watch a girl behind Venetian blinds in Kumla. One should keep from eating beef in Kumla. The geraniums are in bloom in Kumla. The sky is grayish-white in Kumla. Everyone turns down Copenhagen in Kumla. Sviard's yarn is found only in Kumla. Is there brilliant light in the night in Kumla? Is there a dream of silver and gold in the night in Kumla? I've been to Kumla once. Kumla I have been to only once. I know Kumla. I was there once. I sat behind Venetian blinds once in Kumla. It was me seated behind Venetian blinds once in Kumla. Jorgen Leth knows Kumla. He was there once. Jorgen Leth was once in Kumla. I sat behind Venetian blinds once in Kumla. I could see Jorgen Leth. He was drinking beer. There is no more paper now in Kumla. Here is a man. One. Here is a man. He walks up to a green hedge and sticks his hands into the hedge so they disappear. He turns his head slowly and looks this way, but I cannot attract his gaze. The man is rather shapeless and pale. He sits down on a bench. The gravel crunches beneath his feet. He slumps on the bench, opens a liter of full cream milk. The sun has dried out in the landscape. Some parts are rather distorted, e.g. certain exteriors at a distance. It will cease early, I think. The man may be one of the impatient ones. A great deal of apparatus is going to help me to understand this problem. Perhaps there is something going on inside the slumped figure. Tripods, microphones, a lamp that may be dimmed slowly like the lights in a cinema, a stack of paper that may be filled out with numbers and writing, or which may remain untouched, a collection of paper clips, a cup of coffee. A cigarette burns itself out in the ashtray. The piano is covered by a cloth. I have an urge to experiment with handles and buttons. I decide whether the man's footsteps should sound alone or be mixed with the general rush of treetops. BMW accelerates. I select the channel, and pain is no longer inside my head. Total landscape, a skidding sound from a sharp bend. I think of the man who has positioned himself so expediently without knowing. Good advice that fades in and out and disappears. Here is one man, several men. Metal and water and unvoiced desires. Reality is best by far, looks best by far, in glimpses. Number 2. Here's a man. He is slow. He moves slowly from left to right and out. He is alive, and he is full of water and metal. A picture hung to dry, avoid transfer of idealistic ideas lying on of hands. Some people fasten with clips, a number of written pages dropped on the floor, ash in the ashtrays, and natural movements around the exhibited furniture. The handles are sticky, time flows. I must perform certain necessary tricks in the thin air. Distance is a spatial hum in the available channels, and images from another place work in the darkness, invisible film. Some unknown thing is applying pressure, something strange, a distant noise that remains suspended in the room without being decipherable, without anyone insisting. A gentle press of the button discharges coffee, a stream of warm liquid. I do not know these people. I turn to a series of images that began some time ago. A gentle press of the button discharges music, feeble music. Number 3. Here's a landscape. The landscape is filled with living things and exudes hidden fragrances. Feeble music, the sound of slow footsteps on gravel. One of those present screams unexpectedly. I multiply by 5 and note down the result. Close-up of my hand, noting down the result. Close-up of my feet, treading on the gravel. Close-up of my eyes, which are closed while all this occurs. Close-up of torn-off matches and linoleum and plastic cups with cold coffee in them. Manuscript. 64. Take actual occurrences normally taking place in the day and show them taking place at night, thereby becoming as though in a dream. 65. As though time is removed from actions. 161. It's hard to get a hold on this film. It is and must in principle be a mess. It will arrange its material as it assumes form. Sharp points and sensitive strokes. 162. At Papa Doc's mausoleum, interview the guard, who will have been instructed to be highly cooperative, go the whole way, perhaps follow him home, study him closely, investigate his credibility in the frame. 163, Jamaica, Samsara, Rick's Cafe, Sharon's Breakfast. We need to know about reggae, visit Dutchman's friend in Little London, buy cocaine or grass or speed. 164, Other Islands, researched or otherwise. We arrive and do at least one scene, it will suffice. E.g., arriving in Trinidad at night, going straight into town, seeking out music and girls, the correspondent in his packed spleen. 165. He is a journalist, he travels out into the world. He is to describe what he sees, or he is to send home a number of articles, a number of words. He is to embellish the magazine with his professional presence in a dangerous and exotic place. 166. I want scenes in the dark and tropical night. 167. Let sound rise and fade at will. Lay music over dialogue unexpectedly. 168. Beethoven's last 5 quartets. 169. By means of tracking shot, measure the distance from first word to last word. 170. The lack of cohesion in the world, maxi version of Life in Denmark. Opposites. The poor explaining why they are poor, the rich why they are rich, the black why they are black, large handwritten note on yellow draft paper. 171, serial ideas. 187, e.g. divide the film into 9 chapters, some elements repeated. 172, there's something the film wishes to relate external to this correspondent it examines, the correspondent in his life. 173, H sits on the sidewalk every day for a week with food, drink, an infinitude of possibilities. 174. I want decisions to be mine alone, voices, words, etc. I do not wish to hear unnecessary sounds, yet they deluge me. Antonioni. 175. Godard, serial principles, e.g. imposing abstractions on realistically shot material. Le Mépris. Increasingly dividing the shot, then repasting in a kind of collage technique, sometimes formal, sometimes dramatically meaningful. More and more, with each film, it seems to me the greatest problem in filming is to decide where and when to begin a shot and where and why to end it. Jean-Luc Godard. 176, Ephemerie. In the entire film, he employs only 3 or 4 bars of Beethoven's quartets, the music working exclusively as punctuation. 177, sound and image, mythopoeic, selective. 178, it would be good if some lint were left behind, remains of the writing process, like camouflage. 179, measure time, don't want to see 000 on digital clock, permit the right to select again, reset the clock to 0. 180, the cinema films death at work. The person you are filming is in the process of getting older, and one day he will die. Therefore, you are filming a minute of death at work. Jean Cocteau. 181, man and woman asleep in hotel room, sculpture. 182, camera striving to categorize, comprehend, become oblivious to itself, e.g. love and money, dreamy, suggestive, instinctive. 183, repetition, return to something one has yet to properly understand. 184, try to establish a system out of collated, indistinct signs, categories. 185, can a single action be split into seconds? 186, camera may leave a scene before reaching its climax, before discharging its meaning, or become preoccupied dwelling on something inconsequential. 187, Guatemala, enter and be photographed. When he is most despondent, he has his portrait taken, staged with set pieces complete. 188, he must also visit the barber in Belize. Someone's doing something to you, that feeling. 189, brothel, matches are struck and flare up in front of men's faces. 190, shoe fetishism. Shoes and feet, a recurrent feature of the film. Feet inside shoes, her feet. Let him demonstrate there is no golden section as he unsheathes her feet. And lastly, the dream of possessing a backhand. My chance was in my forehand. I had a fairly hard forehand that I could work up. To quite considerable accuracy, I've always dreamt of possessing a backhand. I was a forehand player When I was on form, I could keep on driving shots into both corners, and when I felt on top, I took chances on it and was a danger to the best. I've always dreamt of possessing a backhand. It continues to evolve in my dream, looping, twisting shots into the reverse corner. My chance was in my forehand. I wanted a certain kind of opponent. When I got one, I was very strong. I could force a match in a certain direction with my forehand. I've always dreamt of possessing a backhand. It continues to evolve in my dream. Thanks.